Secularism from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, but not to be confused with irreligion or secularity. Secularism is the principle of seeking to conduct human affairs based on secular, naturalistic considerations. Secularism is most commonly defined as the separation of religion from civic affairs and the state, and may be broadened to a similar position seeking to remove or to minimize the role of religion in any public sphere. The term secularism has a broad range of meanings and in the most schematic may encapsulate any stance that promotes the secular in any given context. It may connote anti-clericalism, atheism, naturalism, non-sectarianism, neutrality on topics of religion, or the complete removal of religious symbols from public institutions. As a philosophy, secularism is a cognate of naturalism, seeking to interpret life based on principles derived solely from the material world without recourse to religion. It shifts the focus from religion towards temporal and material concerns. There are distinct traditions of secularism in the West, like the French, Turkish, and Anglo-American models, and beyond, as in India, where the emphasis is more on equality before law and state neutrality rather than blanket separation. The purposes and arguments in support of secularism vary widely, ranging from assertions that it is a crucial element of modernization or that religion and traditional values are backward and divisive, to the claim that it is the only guarantor of free religious exercise. History, you can see the picture of this man. Can you tell me the name of this man? Yes, the name of the man is, he is the British writer George Holyoake, born on 1817 and died on 1906, employed the term secularism in 1851. This is the man who is the proponent of secularism. Okay, let's know more about the history of secularism. Secularism in practice has existed since ancient times. In societies such as ancient Greece, a limited secularism was practiced in which religion was not involved in governance, though it was still prevalent in public life. Muslim majority secular states existed during the Islamic Golden Age. In 1636, Roger Williams founded the Providence Plantations as a settlement with total freedom of religion in present-day Rhode Island. Secular ideas were strongly challenged by religious leaders and the Catholic Church in particular, causing a religious culture war. During the American Revolution, Thomas Jefferson and James Madison incorporated the ideas of Locke into the government of the United States, including his secularism, though a true secular state was not achieved until the 20th century. French secularism in the age of enlightenment was based on Gallicanism, which emphasized state supremacy as well as anti-clericalism and materialism. Revolutionary France opposed Catholic influence in the country, and it briefly replaced Christianity with the deistic cult of reason. The first to use the already extant word secularism in a modern sense was the British agnostic writer George Holyoake in 1851. Finding atheism too aggravating, he sought a term that would describe a stance advocating to conduct life based on naturalistic secular considerations only, but without necessarily rejecting religion, thus enabling cooperation with believers. Holyoake's definition of secularism differs from its uses by later writers. As the Humanist Heritage website notes, Holyoake provides a definition of secularism much akin to modern definition of humanism, broader than just atheism. More modern definitions of secularism are likely to pertain to separation of church and state rather than personal beliefs. Many Christian countries began to undergo societal secularization during the 20th century, with levels of belief and practice declining. Sociologists disagree as to whether this represents a periodic fluctuation or a larger trend toward long-term adoption of secularism. The principle of laicite, the French notion of strict separation, was enshrined into law in 1905. After the rise to power of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk in 1923, Turkish secularism, or likely, became a state ideology under Kemalism, aiming to modernize the country. Turkish secular tradition prior to Atatürk's reforms was limited, and 20th century Turkish secularism was initially modeled after French laicite. Turkey remains virtually the only Muslim majority nation with an effective secular government, though secularism remains a controversial ideology in Turkey and anti-Kemalism is a prominent ideology in the country. India became a secular state after it achieved independence in 1947. Mahatma Gandhi supported pluralist secularism as a means to curb tensions in the religiously diverse nation. The Indian model of secularism stressed equality of faiths before the law more than separation from the state. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was proclaimed in 1948, protecting freedom of religion in international law. That's all about secularism in brief from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. I do hope you have enjoyed listening to the audio on secularism, and thank you. Bye bye.